recording. View. So I'm really excited to share this with you. So my theme for this presentation that doTERRA asked me to do was mindset and belief. And I had a few choices, and I chose this one because it is such a journey of what I personally am on at the moment, and that is something that hasn't been like a natural thing that I was born with. So I wanted to speak about this because this is something that I have really, really had to learn and continue to learn on my doTERRA journey. And it's just helped me in so many different areas of my life that it's crazy. So I love being able to, I know that a lot of you do mindset work and positive affirmations and all that sort of thing, but I had never done those things until I started doing doTERRA. So this is my little, so here's my family. And I know that a lot of you already know my doTERRA journey, but for me, it all started with a belief that I could do this. And the reason that I had that belief, or the reason that I said yes to doing this, was because I believed that I could. So it was over 2 years ago, two and a bit years ago, right here in this room, that Liz came to visit me, and we were hanging out in my studio, and she was telling me about how she and Dave had discovered that there was a business aspect to doTERRA that they wanted to jump in on. And they were like, you should totally do this with me. And I was kind of like, I don't do things like that. A few people had asked me before to do doTERRA because they thought that like my little measly craft blog might, get some hits if I was posting doTERRA stuff. But I'd kind of like brushed it off the previous times that people had asked me. So Liz kind of, I guess, was really smart and knew that numbers would speak to me. She knew that income would speak to me. So she's showing me that whole build guide that has like all the different ranks and how much money people make at the different ranks. And so I'm looking at diamond, it says average diamond makes $12,000 a month. And I'm like, what? This is like crazy money. Like, who makes this much money? This is ridiculous. Like, I didn't believe it. And then I was like, hang on a second. I know these two girls from like blog circles, and they do doTERRA. And I'm pretty sure I've seen them like posting about diamond. And I'm like, are they making this much money? This is crazy. And so I, of course, went and stalked them online. Sure enough, discovered that they were both doTERRA diamonds. And I know these girls, right? I know them, and they don't have superpowers. They're awesome chicks. But I also knew that they didn't have anything that I didn't have. Like, I could do this. If they could do this, I could totally do this. And so that was like the switch that went on for me for my belief. So it was real. It wasn't a pie in the sky, because I knew these women, and I knew that if they could do this, that I could also do this. And so I dove in, right? And I had a goal that I wanted to go diamond in a year, because I knew it was possible. I knew one of these girls had done it like in less than a year. And so I was like, I'm going to do it in a year. And so, of course, like, you don't just believe in something, set a goal, and then it magically happens. I made a lot of actions. I did a lot of things to make this happen. I've been really persistent and consistent, even when it's been really hard and heartbreaking and exhausting, and I didn't want to keep going. And that's when you have to dig and find even more belief. So I had to like keep believing. I had to do hard things that I would normally have not done, or things that I didn't necessarily want to do. And for me personally, I had to let go of a lot of my stories around not having any money, not being worth earning money, that we were just like hippies that don't have money, because that was the story I'd created about myself. So that is all a huge, huge part of my journey, and why I want to share all of these things with you today, because it's just been totally transformative to me, and not something that I ever did before now. So these are just a few pictures from my first year of my doTERRA journey. So that's Molly and I, our awesome upline. at leadership. So I started doTERRA in June, July, and then I went to leadership in February of the following year. I'm joking, but you know how I said I had to do hard things. That's a 9-year-old child playing a flute on a 21-hour car trip to leadership. Somehow the flute snuck into the car ride. And on the right, that's me making all of our food for my family in our hotel bathroom so that I could afford to be at leadership. So I'm ironing like a tortilla with cheese in the middle to make quesadillas for my kids. It was actually, there's a whole like world of things you can make in hotel bathrooms, which is really awesome. So those are a few little just funny pictures from my first year of building. So what is mindset? So a mindset is a set of beliefs or a way of thinking that determines one's behavior, outlook, and mental attitude. So you can see at the bottom there, this little cycle, it's totally true. It's a cycle. We have our own set of beliefs about things, and our beliefs turn into our thoughts turn into our actions, and our actions turn into results. So if you have negative beliefs that turn into negative thoughts, that's really going to affect your actions and results. So excellence is not a skill, it's an attitude. So having an amazing attitude towards all of this is key. So you can see this rate of success, and just have a think for a minute about where you are on that scale. And I'm just going to text my husband to stop texting me because it's driving me crazy. I wish I could do caps so that I could be shouting at him. Okay, so have a think about on that percentage, like which one you are. And I hear so many people saying like, I'm trying. And one time I was doing like a therapy call with this amazing woman that I work with. And I remember saying to her, I'm trying. And she's like, there's no such thing as trying. You either are doing it or you're not doing it. And I always think of that when I'm like, I'm trying so hard, but you know, like it's one of those things that we can fall back on. So if you're like in the I'm trying stage, like maybe kick it up a notch. Like I will, like I'm doing it. I love these little graphics. Okay, so setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. And that's a quote by Tony Robbins, a very great like motivational business guy that you can get into or not. So when I first started, I came home. I first started in the end of June, July, went to a training, decided I was going to go diamond in a year. So I broke that down into when was I going to hit certain ranks to get there, okay? Because if you have like this year off goal, it can be like, oh, that's way over there. Like I'll deal with that like later because it's so far away. So I had a goal to go gold by Christmas time. So that gave me like 6 months to go gold. And so this is the vision board on the left that I made here. And so if you've never made a vision board before, I definitely invite you to have fun with that. Like you just need some magazines and a glue stick and a pair of scissors. You could even just rip things. You can even do without the scissors. And, you know, a vision board isn't about like, oh, I want a fancy new house. I'm going to put a fancy new house on the vision board. Like think of feelings that you want. Like I wanted to feel free. I wanted to feel, you know, I wanted things to feel like they were growing in all areas of my life. I wanted to feel light and peaceful. And so I found images that like reflected those things. And so I put that up. It's actually right here. I can still see it on my wall. And I looked at that every single day. And it was kind of scary that I made that goal because I didn't really know if I could achieve that. Like I had no idea. I was just starting doTERRA. And really, like when I made it, in the back of my mind, I was like, I want to be gold, but if I'm just silver, like that will change my life. So I made steps. I kept doing all of those things. Like being consistent, being persistent, doing all of the things, sampling, following up, inviting, teaching class after class after class. And I actually went gold in 5 months. So I'm not saying this to like say you have to go gold in 6 months, but I had a goal. I set a goal and I achieved it, which was something that I had never done before in my life. I'd never set a goal and actually set out to achieve it by doing all of the steps. Okay. It wasn't just from putting that picture up and looking at it every day and hoping that somehow like my tree would grow in 6 months' time. So it was a reminder and like a accountability to me personally to see my goal every single day. And I think there's quite a high, I don't know the exact percentage, but if you set a goal, you're like, I don't know, 60% more likely to achieve it than if you didn't write it down. And if you tell somebody else about your goal, the percentage of achieving it goes up even more. So definitely write down your goals, and they may not be a rank goal, and it might not be an income goal, and it's not about that, right? It might be like, I'm going to help one family every month get essential oils into their house and change the way that they care for their children. You know, sometimes I think about, I've come across quite a few families that have a child with ADHD, right? And I'm pretty sure, and I know that one of my brothers had that as a kid and was like on speed, you know, like he was on whatever they prescribe for like a kid like that. And I just think about like the negative effects of a lot of medication. And if we can be, you know, helping like one kid per year not have to go through that, and their bodies not have to be taking in all of that stuff because we've helped teach their mama about oils and they've found a solution with oils, like that's amazing. Okay. So whatever your goal might be, have that down. So this is a really interesting little image. So you can see the results we get, only a small amount of that is from our actions and behavior. And the biggest part of the results we get is from our mindset. So self-esteem, beliefs, values, fears, past experiences, what we're doing, how we're thinking and feeling is the biggest part, and the part that nobody else sees. They're just seeing our actions and behavior. But really what's going on underneath our success is all of the mindset work that we're doing.
I love this slide. Are you going to be sharing the slides?
Yes,
Okay,
I'll share
cool.
it with you. Thank
Love
you.
it.
I'm glad that you guys are still there because I can only see like my screen. So thank you.
It's Margaret saying that.
I know it's good. Hi.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we're moving through our journey, like our belief levels will grow. And so as a brand new builder, the first thing that you are going to need to create or grow belief in is the product. So we have to be a product of the product. So if you don't believe in the product, it's time to go out and smother yourself in oils and do a bunch of research and have experiences before you're ready to step into building as a business, right? Because we have to believe in the product.
Sorry, can you?
Yeah.
Right, I keep hearing that be a product of the product. I understand how you've just explained it, but being a product yourself, that's you using the product daily and showing how it's working, isn't it? Like you're a walking example of the product working, right. Is that right?
Right, like so the reason I put the picture of this bag here is because I literally take that bag with me everywhere. So I'm sitting in school assembly and, you know, I'm being aware of what I'm doing as well. Like I'm like, you know, I will set an intention every morning, like who needs oils today? Like, so I'm going to have my oils with me. And so many of us learn this in the beginning because you'll be somewhere and someone's like, oh, so-and-so's got a headache. Oh, I bet Em has some oils. And then I'm like, I actually don't have anything with me. Like that's, you know, like number one, like have your oils with you all of the time. So whatever form you carry them in. And I used to, before I had my Bali bag, just carry around one of those little keychains, and I had a couple of roller bottles, and I always had them with me. And I used to never even carry a bag with me. Like I was like nothing, a pocket with my keys in it. And now like I take a bag with me because I want to have my oils with me everywhere. So if you're using them and you're carrying them with you, and not only that, like you're putting your oils on you before you leave the house. And I was like I am a hugger, but I would like be even more of a hugger, because I would just hug people and they would smell my oils and they'd be like, oh my goodness, you smell so good. And I'm like, I put white fur on, like, it's the oil of intergenerational healing. My mother's arriving tomorrow, whatever. And mum, if you're listening, I'm kidding, okay? But that kind of thing. Or like, oh, I'm having such a stressful day, like this is what's going on. So I just bathed myself in wild orange. So I'm talking about it all the time to everybody. And I'm at the school assembly and, it's about to start, and I pull out my Intune and I put some on, and I'm like looking side to side, like who's noticing, oh, you better put this on. Like we're going to have to focus here, or whatever. Like I do like to make it light and fluffy like that. Like I'm just using them for myself. Oh, do you want to drop as well? But of course I was doing that like consciously. So even if you just have a belief in lavender and you love lavender and you know that it makes you feel calm, carry your lavender with you. And then, you meet your friend, they've got a baby on their hip who's screaming, and you're like, do you want to try like a little bit of lavender, like on the bottom of their feet? That kind of thing. Does that help with your question about being a product of the product?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Okay. So the other thing to do in these early days of not like, and when I started doTERRA, I had used 6 oils like sparingly for the past 2 years. So I knew that they worked. On Guard, like I was such a believer. But the others, I didn't really know a lot about them. Like I would get Breathe out of the cupboard if someone had a stuffy nose, that sort of thing. So I got like a bigger set of oils, and I was like, I need to know more about these. And remember, you don't need to know everything about every oil. I don't know everything about every oil. Someone asked me yesterday, like, what's spikenard good for medicinally? And I was like, let's look it up. Okay, so you want to be able to put the question back and show them how to use it, how to find the answer themselves. But I also wanted to know as much as I could. So every night, lying in bed, instead of watching Survivor, I would watch a couple of YouTube videos. I would go on to Share Success. I listened to a podcast called The Essential Oil Educator. Every single time I was driving somewhere, every time I was chopping veggies for dinner at night, I would prop my phone or my laptop up on the kitchen windowsill and just learn something. So if you can get into the habit of even 10 minutes a day learning something about an oil, that is just going to soak in, and then it's going to be able to like flow out of you more naturally.
And what did you say after Share Success? What was the second thing you mentioned?
The Essential Oil Educator podcast. And I can write this down in Grow Oils. I can write a few links, but that's just a podcast. A guy interviews different people every week of completely different walks of life. Like one time it might be someone on nutrition and how essential oils work, in aligning with nutrition. It might be like a bodybuilder, someone who works with horses, allergy specialists, like all sorts of different things. So look for the ones that like speak to you and start listening to those. I am not really, I wouldn't call myself someone who loves to learn and loves to like, I don't want to study. Like I actually still have nightmares that I'm back in high school and have to study textbooks and stuff. So coming from someone who doesn't, I'm not like I love learning. I did really love learning about this kind of thing. And the more you get into it, you'll start finding like different YouTube videos, and you'll find the people that speak to you. Like in the beginning, I was like, like I can't learn from these, perfect hair. Like, I had my own blocks around certain things. So find the person that speaks to you. And if you have if you're like, point me in the direction of someone who doesn't have, big hair, or who doesn't who's a man, like I want to hear a man training, like I'll give you some recommendations depending on what you need. Message me about that. But I guess the key thing is, and even you could lie in bed at night or be on the couch scrolling through your Modern Essentials app. That's what my mum does for fun. She's so cute. But she, you know, if you get onto the app, where is it? There's a little, you press the things down the bottom, and you can actually just start scrolling through oils or conditions like alphabetically. So maybe you're like, I'm going to focus on the A, the letter A this week, and I'm going to read about all the oils that start with letter A. I don't know, but just do something every day to keep you plugged in. That is so important in the beginning. I mean, now 2 years into this, I can't get away from talking about oils to people like every day. Like I live in a small town. You know, I take the kids to the little pond every day. And sometimes I just want to lay under a tree and like read some non-doTERRA related book for an hour. And like, you know, 5 people from the town come up to me to talk about oils because they're so excited to share like something that happened or they've got a question or, you know, but I remember also back in the very early days, like having to like really make an effort to talk about oils to one person every day. So, you know, just put that out there as well. And then of course, you know, share your oils, like listen to people when they're talking. Sometimes I just listen and I don't even jump in and say, oh, I've got an oil for that, even though I'm thinking that in my head. And then afterwards, like after the conversation's ended or even later that night when I'm not even with the person, I'll just send a message and say, hey, like I know you were talking about how it's really hard for you to fall asleep at night. I'm going to make you a special little blend and drop it off to you tomorrow. You know, just like gift people, like you are gifting them something. So definitely some work around, oh, if I give them a sample, they're going to feel like I'm trying to sell them something. Have that intention that you are gifting. You're actually gifting oils that you bought with your own money and you're giving those as a gift. Facebook is a really great tool to scroll and look for people complaining about all of their issues and then be like, hey, I've got something awesome to give you. I mean, the other day, I do set an intention every single month that somebody who needs oils is going to I'm going to come across them. And this happens every month. Like I like to give away like a family essentials kit or like $100 sort of worth of oils to someone who I know really, really needs them. So this month I'm like scrolling Instagram. There's some girl who I've sort of, I think like followed me for like a few years. I don't know her at all, but she was talking about like she's a single mom. She's got like a really crappy immune system. And I was like, here's my person that I'm going to send some oils to. So she's in Australia. I've never met her. We barely know each other, but I just messaged her and I was like, hey, have you ever tried oils? If you haven't, I'd love to send you a couple that really helped me with my broken immune system. And so that way I was checking in to make sure she didn't already have doTERRA or have a person that she was working with. And she wrote back and she's like, I've never tried them, but I keep seeing and reading about them. Like, thank you so much. And so I actually just shipped her like On Guard and Breathe and some On Guard beadlets. So, you know, whether anything comes of that or not, like I have shared oils with somebody who needed them. And you never know where that is going to like flow onto. So you don't have to give away whole bottles. Like I'm at a point now where I can afford to do that, which I really like being able to do. But, you know, little samples, making people roller blends, getting the little trio cards, the little deep blue samples and sharing those is like a really affordable way to be. Even if you were like, I'm going to give 3 roller blends away this month. Like that would be amazing. Okay. So next step in the belief on your doTERRA journey is a belief in the company. And so from as well, like when I first started this, I was like, I really need to know more about this company. I knew nothing. I just had my 6 bottles of doTERRA oil. I knew they worked. I didn't know where they were from, how the business structure worked, anything like that. So how do you get a belief in this company? Again, you have to like absorb yourself in as much info as you can. You have to feel good about, you know, I know a lot of people have blocks around like multi-level marketing. I felt the same in the beginning. So really understanding why they set it up this way and how it works is really important, so that you can just be strong in your belief, because that you will come across people who want to shake that. So how you can get like a really strong belief in the company is, again, watching lots of videos, hearing the owners speak, attending any events that you can, because sort of like getting to talk to other people, seeing the vibe, the way that doTERRA corporate present things is very just simple and lovely and nourishing. It's not all like rah rah and like crazy, you know, show and hoopla and all of that sort of thing. So you can really, that vibe that they have and their intention and their sort of wholesomeness definitely trickles down into the leadership and the corporate events and everything. So for me, like, I was just so, the more I started watching and learning about co-impact sourcing, I was like, oh yeah, like I want to be part of this. I want to be behind this. And so maybe, you know, go on to source2u.com, like watch every co-impact sourcing video that you can. Attend whatever you possibly can. doTERRA convention is coming up in a few weeks. You can still get tickets even though it says sold out. It's a huge, it's an investment to get yourself to Salt Lake and everything, I know, but it's incredible to be there. And so, you know, this idea of like having a healer in every home and like helping somebody one drop at a time, these are things that doTERRA, like, this is their mission. And so, you know, taking on their belief or aligning yourself with that, and really being clear about that, so that you can, again, like just share that with other people. Like if people are like, oh, well, who are these owners? And you're like, I don't know. You know, definitely kind of read some of the story of how they started doTERRA and why they wanted to set up the co-impact sourcing. The little details, like they're a completely debt-free company. They're privately owned by the 7 owners, so that no outside, you know, investors will ever be able to change the way that they source. That kind of thing is all really good little tidbits to know about.
Can I just add something?
Yeah.
I don't know who can see this, but the keynote speaker last year at convention, which was the first year I went, was Immaculate. I'm even looking at her name.
I can never say her last name.
Lisa, and this is her book. She survived the Rwandan Holocaust, and she told her story on stage. And I mean, I researched her a bit before when I found out she was a keynote speaker, but to me, it just said so much about the company to have someone like that as their keynote speaker. The focus wasn't on sales. The focus was on humanity, and it just was a really cool thing. And that, you know, I like to share that with people too, to tell them, to indicate what kind of company this is, because it really touched my heart. So I just wanted to.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, I mean, on doTERRA's website, if you go under all of the little tabs, like I think there's one that's like Our Caring, and you know, there's more that they do than just the Healing Hands Foundation and the co-impact sourcing. Like if you look at the you know, the other, what's the word, not companies, the other organizations that they are supporting right now, like Operation Underground Railroad, Days for Girls. If you start reading some of the work that they're doing, and then you're able to share those stories or the things that speak to you with other people, like that's really going to help a lot. Okay, and so, you know, belief in the product, belief in the company, awesome. Like I was all good with those 2 things for like the first 6, 7, 8 months of my business. And then the scary bit, I had to have a belief in the business opportunity. So I kind of flew under the radar with that for like the first 7 or so months. I just wanted to get people oils. You know, I'd talk to a few of my friends who I was like, do this with me. But I never stood up in a class and was like, there's a business opportunity. I didn't really reach out to people because that bit felt icky and weird and Amway-ish to me, like there's a business opportunity, let me talk to you about it, you know. Like I was like, nope, I'm just gonna like let the universe bring me the right people. if someone sees what I'm doing, they can ask me about it. Like, this was my attitude. So then I went to leadership. Remember the flute, the 21-hour drive with the flute playing, and the making, porridge in my rice cooker in the bathroom of our hotel room. So I went to leadership 7 or 8 months into my journey. And there was a presentation by a man called David Ellis, who's like a number crunching guy. And you can see this presentation on Share Success. I'm going to post all of the things that I've suggested. I'll post it in the event so you can click on the links. So he gives this presentation about the power of residual income, which I hadn't really understood at that point. I was like, cool, like I'm going to get money every month now. It wasn't very much at that point. My uni level was, a few $100s or whatever. So he talks about this whole presentation is like the power of residual income and what that actually means, which I definitely don't want to explain right now, but you can go watch that presentation. And then it's like mind-blowing. It's totally mind-blowing. My husband had come with me. He'd never been to any doTERRA thing ever. He didn't really understand what I was doing. And he was like, whoa, like, Em, this is amazing what you've built for us in the last 8 months. And I was like, yes. So what David Ellis says at the end of this presentation was what like really struck me to the core. He says, so I'm feeling pretty good about what I've built over the last 8 months now that my husband's really pleased that I've like gold and like every month now that residual income is going to keep growing, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of this talk, he says, how many people are do you know that are like on their knees or in despair every day about their financial situation and about their health? And I was like, oh yeah, like that was us. And like, I do know a lot of people like that. And he's like, do we have something that can help them? And I was like, I'm going to have to talk to people. I have to talk to people about the business opportunity now because it has changed our life. Like even in this short 8 month period, it's completely changed our life. And I started thinking of all the friends I had that were struggling and feeling like I can't just keep this to myself. Like thinking about, it's so sad to me here in the US, like I go to the supermarket and it's like some hunchback, like 89-year-old man is like bagging groceries, because only 2% of the population in this country can retire. Like they have enough money to retire when they get to retirement age. So I came back and was like, I'm not going to feel ashamed to talk about the business anymore. So if you are in that space that I was in, then I again invite you to watch David Ellis's presentation on the power of residual income and get really clear on how the business structure works, why it's set up this way, and be able to share that with people. So I heard like somebody talk about this concept of like, you have the cookie, right? So you're going to get people who are going to knock you back, who are going to say no, who are even going to be like mean and judgmental about network marketing or multi-level marketing. So think about like if you'd made like a yummy tray of cookies or brownies and you're offering that, like you take them, you offer someone a bite of or a slice of the brownie and they're like, ew, no thanks, like I don't do brownies. And it's like, okay, that's fine. Like they're still really delicious and awesome and I still have them and I can share them with other people. Okay, you're not going to be like, oh, they didn't want my brownie, like I'm a bad person, like this was a terrible recipe, like why did I offer them that brownie, like I feel so ridiculous. So if you can kind of like bring it down to that level and just remember like there's someone out there who definitely wants to take a bite, if not like shove the whole thing into their mouth like immediately. So really have that be there. And I kind of like I like to kind of keep everything light and jokey, and that's me. So, you can't do it my way if that doesn't feel authentic to you. But I'm like, hey, you should definitely do this. Like, this is incredible. Like, you should do this too. And kind of like open it up like that. If I had made it really serious, like, so next Tuesday, did you want to come over with your husband and we'll sit down and like talk about the business opportunity? That feels so weird to me. That's not the way that I operate. So you have to do this in a way that feels authentic and vibes with who you are. So I wrote down, see the brilliance in others until they see it in themselves. And this is a huge part of it. Like, I can see the potential in everyone. Like, I love people. I love seeing and hearing what they're good at and what they're interested in. And then the way that my mind works is like, it ticks over creatively, and I'm like, ooh, this could work for you in this way, and la, 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 la. So really, like, as a mentor or as a leader, you might need to see that person's talents and believe in them until they do it for themselves. And, seeing that switch or seeing that light go on for people, and that when they start really owning it, is awesome. But if you can carry them through until they believe it or see it for themselves, then that is amazing. Okay, so this little image, the building blocks, is something that I pulled off one of the some doTERRA training site. And it talks about, like, as you're moving up through the ranks, your belief levels grow, right? Just like we talked about. And, as an elite, you really are building your belief and your knowledge on the product. You move up to Premier, you've got like more of a solid belief in the company, the business opportunity. As a silver, it's really time to like shift and really believe in yourself. Like, you're doing this, you've got 3 elites, you're like growing a team, you can totally do this. Gold and platinum, you really have to believe in your builders. Like, they can do this. Like, it's not just you doing everything, like they can do this too. And things are starting to shift, and they're taking leadership and stepping up into their roles as a team leader as well. It says here, diamond, like your why. I mean, that can change along the way, like this whole concept of like, what is your why? Why are you doing this? What is your core reason and belief for running this as a business? And that shifts over time. And then a belief in the influence that you can have on other people and your teams. And so, whether that is the way that it's going to roll for you or not, I kind of just wanted to throw that in there because it is something that builds upon each other. And this is something I talk about daily with my teenager, the power of positive thought. And it is a tool, and it is something you can train like a muscle. And again, I'm speaking from my own experience of not really ever doing this in my life before now. So, okay, so nowadays, if I have a negative belief, I kind of walk myself through these steps. And so a couple of things, let me just think of one that comes up a lot. Okay, so one that comes up a lot for people is the market is saturated already. So this probably isn't going to work for me, because I already know a bunch of people doing doTERRA. So that's a negative belief, believing that the market is saturated. So first step in killing this flow of negative belief is picking what your negative belief is. So you may even want to write down one of your negative beliefs right now, like, no one ever comes to my classes, like nobody wants to hear what I have to say. So let's just look at the market is saturated. So ask yourself why you have this belief. So maybe you have the belief because you already know there's a diamond in the next town, or you've already all your friends are like, oh, my sister does doTERRA. So that's why you have this belief, because maybe 5 people that you've spoken to, or even 20 people have already said they know somebody with doTERRA. So is it 100% true that the market is saturated from that information that you have? Does everybody have doTERRA already in the whole world that you know? Probably not. I'd say the answer is no. So, or, is it true? Is it 100% true that nobody wants to come to your classes? Nobody in the whole world. So when you think of it like this, it's kind of like, oh, that's right. Of course, that's not true. So then ask yourself, what would it feel like if I didn't have this belief? What would it feel like if I didn't think the market was saturated, if I thought the market was wide open, or if I thought everybody wants to come to one of my classes? Like, that would feel awesome. Like, my body right now feels like, yes, just from me saying that, okay? So switch that to a positive statement. So if you think the market is saturated, how about thinking instead, everybody I'm going to come across today is going to be interested in oils, or there are so many people out there that need oils in their life. So if you switch that around, or there are so many people I haven't even met yet who would love to come to one of my classes. So this is something you can actually go through as an exercise to retrain the way that you think on paper. Like, write down your negative belief, ask yourself why you have it, ask yourself if it's true. Like, how do you know this is 100% true, like actual truth? What would it feel like not to have that belief? Switch it around. And then just by doing those simple things, you've sprayed poison, not organic, like real poison, like terrible stuff that we wouldn't want in our house, on the root of your limiting belief. And I'm again speaking from like, this works because I've tried it. And then, powerful affirmations, positive statements that you can write down and stick up, or write down and repeat to yourself the minute you wake up in the morning, because your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. So how do we practice this daily to shift our mindset? So self-care and positive affirmations are really important. I'm looking at like my little note board up here where I've written some positive affirmations. So again, like, if creating a positive affirmation because you want to feel a certain way, or you want to achieve a certain thing, and like, stick that up, repeat that to yourself, put it on your mirror, stick it to your toothpaste so that you're going to look at it every day. Just noticing and having that thought in your mind is going to start shifting things. Meditation, which seems like a laughable thing when people suggest to do that when you have small children, or any like other person that lives with you. They're like, how am I supposed to meditate? But even like 2 minutes a day, just visualizing, breathing, repeating positive affirmations, just having that moment to connect and check in with yourself. Personal development, you hear it all the time from doTERRA leaders. I don't know anybody out there who's successful in doTERRA who does not speak about personal development. So reading, learning, working on your stuff, doing all these practices, working on changing your thought patterns and habits through noticing. Just noticing is such a powerful thing. Just noticing, oh, I'm having that negative belief right now. Okay, I'm going to let that go. Just noticing it. Of course, like having your why and having it be strong enough that it is not going to get rid of your, like if you're coming up with why not, like why wouldn't I do this? Your why has to be stronger than your why not. And your why can be bigger than one thing, and it can change and shift over time. So as well, like surround yourself with positive people. And I love so much that we have this Facebook community where you can just hop on and be like, oh, guys, like today, like I tried to talk to someone about the business and like this is what happened. Like share these things in our Grow Oils group, because we have such a beautiful community and people from all over the world, and we're all going through this stuff. So either connect with somebody there, share your stories so that we can all, rally around and support you, or, you might, by you sharing your story, that's going to help somebody else. So really, really use the group. It's there for you guys to post and share and connect all the time. Use your mentor, so your upline or maybe you've got an accountability partner. I know that at our local event that we did a few weeks ago, it was so cool to see different people connecting who are cross-lined to each other, and now they're sharing and connecting and kind of helping each other. And I have now made a couple of really good friends with people from other teams who have definitely, I consider them mentors. And so really seeking out the people that you connect with and that will work for you. And then, of course, like serving your team, like really loving your people, your customers, your builders, thinking of them. I mean, I think of my team like just all the time. Like I actually want to get photos of everybody and like stick them up on my vision board. What can you do for them? Maybe like putting a little surprise package in the mail, sending a positive text or note, or just, you know, some emojis to somebody just to help them know that you're there for them, that you believe in them, and keeping that connection going. So this is really funny. I won't read all of these out, but really by changing your words, you change your mindset. And I'm pretty sure my mum used to always say this to me when I was a teenager, and I'd just be like mum. But I love this. Like, oh, I can't do French. Like, I'll never learn French. Oh, I'm going to train my brain in French. Like, I love this. You know, like, this is too hard. This may take some time and effort. So I really love this. And now when negative thoughts do come into my mind, I will actually practice switching them into something else. Again, like anyone with a teenager, you're probably like trying to drill this into them as well. And getting the eye rolls and the slammed doors. But I'll keep going with my little positive pep talks, because, you know, even if I was rolling my eyes at my mum when I was a teenager, obviously some of this was going in, because now I'm all into it. So I do love these, and invite you to like think of some of the things that you hear yourself or catch yourself saying to yourself that might be a negative mindset, and then switching that over. So next time if that thought pops into your mind, you can switch it. So I might post this in the group, because this is, we're already like at an hour here, and I don't want to trap you guys with my positive vibes all morning. But these are some oils to use in a morning ritual to rock your day, from one of my awesome Crossline friends who is hilarious. Her website is Organic Home Health. And so I just pulled this from there. So it's talking about oils. And, you know, we want to be using our oils, and they can really help support all sorts of things like, you know, self-care, believing in yourself, shifting like body image stuff. What's the word? Feeling brave and being able to speak, feeling confidence. That's the word I'm looking for. Feeling calm, helping you with being able to speak more clearly. So we've got these amazing oils, like use them every day as part of your practice. And then here are some positive affirmations. So this woman, Tara Wagner, is someone who really taught me and really helped me with these positive affirmations. So we were together at this doTERRA training, and we were late. We were totally late. And you know, we pull into the car park and it's packed, and we're like, you know, flustered, and we don't want to be late because it's the first day of this training and it's a small group and everyone's going to see us walk in and we're going to feel embarrassed and all of this stuff. So the car park is totally packed. I'm freaking out. I'm the one driving, stressing, like, why did we do this? Like, why did we stop and get like coffee, like blah, blah, blah. And she's like sitting there and she's like, the perfect space is going to open up right before our eyes. The right parking spot is waiting for us right around the corner. And I was like, this isn't going to work. Like, this isn't going to happen. And then, you know, we're driving around and sure enough, like we got a spot, we were fine. But like I was sitting in the seat freaking out and like creating all these stories, like why, like what everyone's going to think of us. And she's just sitting there like, totally zen, like the right spot is going to open up right before us. So here are some of her statements that I will again post so that you can look at these and copy them down if any of them speak to you. So I love this one, and I'll post this also. So I am confident and courageous. I possess the strength and ability to accomplish all my goals and dreams. So this is one that I have sticking up on my wall that I can look at every day, because it's true. It's true for all of us. This brings you back to that other image where people only see a certain part of what is going on. So, you know, people are like, oh, she's so successful, and that's because they just see part of it. But have a look at all the stuff that is going on beneath the surface for your success. And I just wanted to show this as a reminder of all the things that are a combination of being successful at something. This got a little bit messed up. I don't know why all these photos are like this, but oh, okay. So I did want to speak a little bit about, I put this slide in because I had just gone Blue Diamond for the first time when I made this. And a huge part of me, of that happening, was because I 100% believed that it was going to happen. So I'll just quickly tell you a little bit of my story. So, and I don't know why this is all messed, the photo is there twice, so I'm sorry. So it was a few days before the end of the month in June, and I had kind of like, okay, so a few months beforehand, I had a call with Molly, and she was like, I'd been kind of planning, like it was kind of my goal. It was my goal in my head. I hadn't written it down, to go Blue Diamond this summer. And so I'd kind of been building upon that like all year long. And I must have had a like Zoom with Molly in like May, and I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in June. And she was like, like, I know you can do it, but like, I kind of think you're still a few months away. And I was kind of like, I was really bummed at first. And then I was kind of like, oh, I can't wait to like prove her wrong, you know? And then the month was kind of intense with like stuff going on with my kids and my just a lot of stuff. And I was like, you know what, like this is more important. Like I'm going to focus on this, but I sort of just was being really chill about it all. So a few days before the end of the month, I sold an every oil kit, and I was like, oh, there's 1400 PV. Like I'm just going to go over all my numbers. So I go over all my numbers, and I was like, I think I can do this. Like, this is going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy, crazy push, but I think I can do this. Meanwhile, it's my daughter's birthday that day or the next day. And this is her on the left, the same one that played the flute in the car. So I had planned for her birthday to take her and her two friends to a water park hotel. So this is the same day that I'm like, I think I'm going to try and go blue in the next like 48 hours. So I'm like doing webinars, like in the hotel room. I'm like doing all my stuff, like sitting by the pool, like a crazy person. I had a friend who is a Blue Diamond in another team. She'd seen something I posted on Facebook, and she's like, Em, are you trying to go blue? Like, call me. And so I called her, and she gave me like a ton of tips and tricks and amazing advice. And she said to me, if you're going to do this, you have to 100% commit. Because at this point I was like, I'm still like so far away, but it could happen. She's like, you have to 100% commit that you're going to make this happen. And that was a wake up call. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And everybody rallied. I pulled all this stuff together while doing a birthday party at the same time. I really, really hustled. I stayed calm, and I really trusted and believed. And that was huge for me. Like that was a huge, huge thing for me, because I could have so easily just been like, this is too hard. I can't do it. Got all flustered, not believed that it could actually happen. Another fun story about that, the last day of the month. So I'd been hustling and I was crunching numbers and pulling it all together. You know, I talked to Molly and I was like, I'm doing this. And she's like, okay, we'll never take my advice again in the future. And so the morning of the last day of the month, I get a phone call. I can see it's Utah. And I just thought it was my account manager calling for something. And I answer the phone, and it's Elise Shedovy, who is Molly's upline. She's like untouchable, this amazing powerhouse woman. Like she only mentors her frontline. I have no access to her whatsoever. And she's like, Em, it's Elise Chedevy. I heard you're going blue today. And I was like, I have to do it now. Like, I have to do it now because other people believe in me. And anyway, that was a smart play on Molly's part. She probably texted her and was like, I've got this girl going blue, like call her and like fire her up. And, you know, Elise is like, I was just on the phone to Emily Wright, like telling her I've got a new person going blue today. So, you know, kind of that whole rallying together and other people believing in me as well, like really did make a huge difference. And so it was a crazy like 48 hours. Still, I can't believe like it actually happened. And, you know, in the meantime, like these 3 little girls are having like an amazing birthday party. They don't know all the craziness that's going on right here with my computer in this hot and steamy chlorine filled indoor water park. So I am really like have to speak as well just at how cool and crazy this whole journey is, that I'm able to work and do this sort of thing while my children are having a birthday party in a water park, and just how great it is to be part of this community, and how many things have shifted for me because of me having to work on my own stories and my own blocks and my own beliefs. I think that any of you who have known me since before doTERRA would never imagine me giving a presentation like this or even speaking like this, because this just wasn't really who I was, because I wasn't practicing these things. And so I guess I just wanted to share that with you guys, that you are enough, that you have everything inside of you to be able to do all the things that you want to do. And, you know, we hear that whole, like, if you can dream it, you can do it. And I kind of was somebody who thought that applied to other people and not me. And I'm just here to say, like, you really can. And so that is my presentation. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I love you all so much, and I'm so happy and honored to be on a journey with so many amazing people. And I will stop recording and see if anyone has any questions or anything that they want to share, but thanks for being part of this. So
Em, thank